Welcome to this explainer, the hard truth about your phone number, ownership, recycling, and digital danger. Today, we're diving into a startling reality about your digital identity, specifically focusing on that everyday device sitting right there in your pocket. A recent report by the Juris Trust Center for Socio-Legal Research and Documentation brought to light some, quite frankly, urgent realities about how telecom systems actually work in Nigeria. So let's just get right into it.
So, do you actually own your phone number? Really take a second to think about it. I mean, you bought the SIM card, right? You registered it with your personal ID, you've memorized those exact digits, and you've handed it out to your friends, your family, your boss, your bank. It definitely feels intimately yours. It sets up this incredibly powerful illusion of ownership that honestly, most of us naturally believe without a second thought. But what if I told you that this feeling of ownership is exactly that, just an illusion?
Yeah, that myth gets broken pretty quickly by the telecom industry itself. In a recent report, Toby Okigbo, the Chief Corporate Services and Sustainability Officer at MTN Nigeria, laid out the industry's perspective super plainly. He said, "You don't own your number. You are just renting it from the government." Honestly, that is a massive paradigm shift. You are essentially just a tenant on that 11-digit property.
So why are we all so shocked by this? Well, it really comes down to the legal definition of personal data. Under Section 67 of the Nigerian Data Protection Act of 2023, personal data is defined as literally any information that connects to a specific person, directly or indirectly. And as the author of the report, Ifeanyi Ewuziam, points out, consumers naturally feel their number is legally their personal property simply because it directly identifies them. It's tied to your NIN, it's tied to your bank, it's tied to your whole life. So there's this very real, very deep conflict between how the law defines personal data and how telecom companies view the actual digits themselves.
And you know, this conflict between data privacy and telco operations is actually building into a massive global human rights conversation. Let's consider a landmark ruling from March 2026 where the Kenyan High Court declared that a registered mobile number is a protected digital identifier under the right to privacy. Now, the context of this case was wild. Two prisoners lost access to their mobile lines after 90 days of inactivity while they were incarcerated. Their numbers were then given to complete strangers who suddenly started receiving the prisoners' bank alerts, tax reminders, and one-time passwords. It led to massive identity theft. Because of that, the court actually prohibited telcos from reassigning numbers without the original owner's informed and verifiable consent.
Now, while the Kenyan court's ruling sounds amazing for consumer privacy, the telecom industry argues that it's practically impossible to implement, and they have 4 key reasons why. First off, how do you actually get verifiable consent from someone who is totally unreachable, maybe even because they've passed away? Second, phone numbers are a finite, limited resource. If lines aren't recycled, the networks will literally run out of numbers to give new customers. Third, telecom companies are just connection providers. They're totally blind to whether you've linked your number to a bank or a tax office. And finally, the sheer time and cost to manually track down inactive users would completely destroy the automated systems that keep our mobile services affordable and fast in the first place.
So if getting verifiable consent isn't practically possible, what is the solution? Well, in Nigeria, it all comes down to a single number, 365. I want you to imagine this as an invisible countdown timer permanently attached to the SIM card inside your phone. Every single day you don't use your line, that clock is ticking down.
And that brings us to the 1-year rule. In Nigeria, telecom companies operate under sector-specific rules that legally empower them to recycle your number. If a line goes completely dormant for exactly 365 days, meaning absolutely no calls, no texts, and no data usage, the telecom company can and absolutely will pack up that number and sell it to someone else. The system just keeps moving. Your lease on that number simply expires, and a new tenant moves in.
But here is where the danger really starts. We have what the report calls the true caller problem. See, when a number is recycled, the massive third-party apps we all use don't get the memo right away. A brand new person buys your old number, but when they call someone, Truecaller might still display your name. It creates this terrifying identity lag. And criminals are actively exploiting these gaps, using recycled numbers to completely impersonate previous owners. It means all of us have to be highly digitally aware. Just because a name pops up on a caller ID app doesn't mean that's who is actually holding the phone.
The absolutely crucial point here is how this impacts your money. There is a deeply dangerous misunderstanding happening between consumers and telcos. As consumers, we just kind of expect that because we link our bank verification number, our BVN, to our phone, the telco is somehow guarding our bank account. But MTN explicitly states there's absolutely no direct security partnership between them and the banks. None. If your line is recycled after a year of inactivity and whoever buys it hacks into your bank account using your old phone number to receive OTPs, the telecom company bears zero liability. They wash their hands of it completely. It is entirely on the customer. Because that liability falls entirely on you, telecom companies do offer 2 proactive steps to protect yourself. Step 1, please don't just toss a SIM card in a drawer if you're traveling or moving. Actually call your provider and ask them about specific plans to keep the line active while you're away. But step 2 is the real game changer. If you are going to abandon a number, you absolutely must go to your bank first. You have to manually instruct the bank to remove that specific number from your account, and crucially, your BVN profile, before the telco recycles it.
Now let's be real, putting all that pressure entirely on individual consumers isn't exactly a bulletproof system. People forget, people get sick, people lose their phones all the time. And that's exactly why experts are recommending a systemic fix, a joint regulatory roundtable. We're talking about bringing together the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, the Nigerian Communications Commission, and the Central Bank of Nigeria. The goal here would be to create a mandated, automated system where bank accounts and BVN profiles are legally required to be disconnected from a phone number before a telecom company is ever allowed to hand it over to a new owner.
And honestly, it's not just about banking anymore. Our phone numbers have evolved into master digital keys. They unlock everything: your tax records, your insurance policies, your healthcare portals, your national identity profiles, the whole shebang. The scope of this vulnerability is just vast. The report argues that the FCPC urgently needs to commission a comprehensive study to identify every single sector that uses mobile numbers for authentication and establish cross-sector safeguards. Because the technical reality of the telecom industry means recycling isn't going away. So we need a much broader risk management strategy to actually protect our digital privacy.
Which brings us to our final thought. Your phone number is the digital key to your life. But based on everything we've uncovered in this explainer today, from the 1-year recycling rule to the total lack of integration between telecom and banking security, who is really guarding the door? Well, the hard truth is, right now, it's you. It is entirely up to you to manage your digital footprint, stay active on your lines, and meticulously clean up your personal data if you ever change your number. Keep that in mind the next time you pick up a new SIM. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay secure out there.